Hey, it's Wesiana. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. If there's one thing I feel like I was put on this earth to do, it's to encourage the people around me to live a life that's true to them. And if there's one thing that grinds my gears, it's when someone tells me that they want to do something and they never do it. And most of the time, that thing is starting a YouTube channel. Look, I get it. It's terrifying to start something new, and it's even worse when that thing involves failing over and over again in public with very little positive feedback for several years, all the while maintaining and faking the confidence that you have already made it. And the reason I bring this all up is because even though I have been at this for several years, I still get intimidated by massive amounts of equipment and intricate filming setups. So everything I'm going to share today is meant for people like me who don't want such an extensive filming setup that it gets in the way of the life you're actually trying to document. So let's get into it. So my first camera and my main camera is a little bit overkill for someone who's just getting started, but if you are interested in doing more cinematic videography or photography or client work, it could be a good option. And that is my guy right here, the Sony a7C. I've been a huge fan of Sony's cameras for a very long time now. I've gone through 3 mirrorless cameras already. My first one was the a7 II, then I upgraded to the a7 III, and then I traded that one in for the a7C that I'm filming on right now. So generally when it comes to cameras, you're gonna have to make a trade-off between quality and size. So the bigger the camera you get, the better quality footage, and vice versa in most instances. And you might have seen a lot of vloggers starting to use this, and that's because the a7C offers one of the best size to quality ratios, especially for someone who's carrying their camera around with them day to day. It also has a flip out screen, which is non-negotiable in my opinion. And that's not to say that you can't add like an external monitor if you really wanted to, but again, I am lazy and I don't like carrying a lot of stuff. Now my main use for this camera is for sit down chat videos, as you can see, or when I'm creating more cinematic videos for my second channel. I would say when it comes to vlogging, I kind of go back and forth between this and my other cameras. If I'm mostly just around the house or I'm only going to be going to one location, I might bring this camera with me. But if I am traveling or I'm going to be running a bunch of errands and be out all day, then I'll probably bring one of my alternative cameras, which we'll get into later. The second best part of this is that the sensor is so big that I almost never have to film with a ring light, even in dim indoor lighting, and the quality will still be terrific. Now I have 2 lenses that I use. The first is the Samyang 1.8, which you can see I'm filming on right now. And the second is my trusty Tamron. This is the 28 to 75 zoom. So you can see changes focal lengths. I mostly use the Tamron for client work or cinematic videos, or if I'm gonna be filming somewhere with like a little bit more space. But because I usually do all of my sit down videos at my desk, I have like 12 inches of space here. I mean, this is like how far the camera is from me, which means that I need a wider angle lens to be able to capture my face and, you know, my upper body and everything around me. So this is actually the one that I usually keep attached. And it's also really compact. I'll show you guys like an image right here, which means that when I have it attached to my a7C, it's still small enough of a setup that I can put it into like a tote bag or a backpack or whatever, throw it in and carry it around with me through the day if that's what I wanted. Now, unless you have a specific need for better image quality from the get-go, I wouldn't necessarily suggest starting out with this, especially since at the beginning, your videos are probably gonna suck no matter what camera you're using. It's gonna take you a while to figure out how to make good content with storytelling and pacing and how you show up on camera and just everything that goes into making a good video besides how well you can see all of my wrinkles and imperfections in my face. Now the second camera is actually the one that I would recommend for anyone who is just getting started, especially a vlogger, who needs something that is a little more run and gun or simple to operate and get going. And that is the Sony ZV-1. This little guy packs incredible video quality into a very tiny size. This is technically Albie's camera, but he doesn't really use it, so I have adopted it for the time being. It can fit into your purse or even a pocket. Probably not a woman's pocket, but a man's pocket, you might be able to make it work. And it's also pretty discreet as far as cameras go, and of course it has flip screen. Now, a couple features that make this really special for vlogging are number 1, the intelligent auto modes. They have one specifically for video, which means that you don't need to know any settings in order to just pop out your camera, film a moment, and you don't have to worry about fiddling it with it so long that you miss whatever it is you were trying to film in the first place. And in addition, the second thing that I really love is when you flip out the screen, like I showed you guys earlier, it actually turns on automatically. So that again saves you just like a couple seconds of startup time, which is really important if you're a vlogger, and that can be the difference between getting the shot or not. And number 3, it has an active mode, which creates very, very stable footage. It's almost like having a built-in gimbal. So if you're someone who likes to walk and talk, it can be very useful for keeping that footage stable while you're moving. Now this last camera, Albie actually got me as a gift last year, and I had no idea how much I needed it until I actually had it in my hand. Yeah, that's a camera. This is DJI's Pocket 2, and it's kind of similar to a GoPro, but even smaller and more discreet. And the footage actually looks like real camera footage, and it doesn't have that cheesy GoPro effect. And this camera is so steady that you could literally be running with it as you're filming and you're not gonna see any camera shake. And that's because DJI's gimbal technology is world class. I know I sound like a commercial right now, but I promise this is not sponsored or anything. I just really love DJI's cameras and technology. But yeah, their gimbal technology has to be great because they specialize mostly in drones. So obviously if you're flying like a helicopter in the air, it has to be really stable. And if you've actually seen the little camera that goes on the bottom of the DJI drones, this is the same. It's just on a stick and you can hold it instead of flying it. Kind of feel like a spy when I walk around filming on this thing. I mean, people probably think I'm just filming on an electric toothbrush, so. This is absolutely the best camera if you're nervous about filming in public. I used it all last summer when we were traveling in Amsterdam and in Thailand, and it was just the perfect tool for filming and vlogging on the go. I could just turn it on, hold it, and not even worry about what shots I was taking, and I would get great footage regardless. So it really is perfect if you want to record, but still reserve some of your brain cells to actually live in the moment. So I actually get the most questions about my audio setup, and what I'm using 99% of the time is my Rode micro mic, which is attached right now. It's their cheapest, smallest shotgun mic. I think it's about like 50 bucks. And the sound just comes through crystal clear. I have a dead cat I can use if it's windy outside. And I honestly have no idea why anyone would upgrade from this. It's just so small and compact and amazing and perfect. But I do have a second mic, and it's this blue Yeti. It's basically the same one that every YouTube bro has. I got mine in white, so it blends in beautifully with my whole desk setup, but I'm not totally sold on it yet. I actually like the sound quality on my Rode mic a little bit better. I think it comes through clearer, even though this one is a little more full-bodied. If you are uploading to YouTube, I feel like clearer sound tends to work a little bit better because people are on speakers or watching it with their friends, and they're not always in like a enclosed noise canceling environment. But the biggest benefit of the Yeti is that it's not attached to the camera. So if I wanted to record much farther back, you could still hear what's going on. And then of course, because it is a standalone microphone, you can just record into the computer directly. I use it when I'm doing voiceovers. Otherwise, if I use this, I would also be filming footage, and then I have to deal with that and delete it, or it's taking up space on my computer, and you get the point. But the second benefit is that it's an omnidirectional microphone, which means that it can pick up sounds from all sides instead of a shotgun, which just picks up from the direction it's facing. And according to their official guide, you can use the different settings to record for choirs, musicians, conference calls, podcasts, and since I clearly do none of those things, it hasn't been the most useful for me. Now, as far as tripods go, my motto is the cheaper the better. No, but really, if your camera isn't particularly large or heavy through the lens, which mine isn't, again, I have a very compact full frame camera, you'll be really fine with a basic tripod. Mine was $15 on Amazon, and it has served me well. There she is, Amazon Basics. I feel like the materials alone for this cost more than $15, including shipping, so I'm not really sure what sweatshop this was made in, so I don't know if I would necessarily recommend buying it, but you know, you do you. I also use a GorillaPod, which this is standing on right now. It's basically like a bendy tripod where you can manipulate the legs and make it contort into different shapes. And this can be really handy for more creative shots in different areas, or if you have like a really tight space or you want your tripod to be a lot lower. And in general, it's just a little bit quicker to set up than having to set up all of the tripod legs on a traditional tripod. I have this as well as the rest of the items I talked about linked in the description below. Of course, whatever equipment you do end up picking up is going to be very dependent on your personal circumstances. This is just what I happen to use as somebody who cares a lot about video quality, but is also very lazy and hates carrying things around. And if you want to start your YouTube channel off on the right foot, I'm actually going to be releasing a course. I think it should be out by the time this video is live. That'll be linked in the description box as well. It'll be everything about how to properly brand yourself on YouTube. So kind of merging my design and branding background with my content creation experience. I'm not sure what platform it's going to be uploaded to yet. Maybe Skillshare, maybe Udemy. I don't know, it'll be a surprise to you and to me as well. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day and I will see you in the next one. Bye!